Hello, hello, wonderful, beautiful beings, and welcome back. So, today I wanted to talk about what to do and why you're actually manifesting what you don't want. I've gotten a lot of comments lately, talking about, well, what if he isn't showing up like this? What happens if, the unideal is happening in your 3D world? And I really want to go into this because I put myself in this loop for a very, very long time, and there is a way to get out of it, and it's actually quite, I don't want to say easy, but extremely simple, and you can do it instantly. So what this is, or let's actually kind of touch on why you're doing this in the first place. Why is this showing up for you? Is there something wrong with you? Are you not good enough? Is there, are you not in your feminine energy enough to get what you want from a man? Or this even relates to money as well. So really apply it to any aspect of your life. I just love to talk about love. I'm such a lover, so that's what we are going to be talking about. But the reason that you're doing this in the first place is actually because you're in the state of being the version of you that whatever unideal manifestation is happening in your 3D is showing up for you. You're being the person that creates that, you could say. So you are actually in the state of a person who is not getting what they want. Every state that we have is actually complete, or every state that we are in is complete. It's not really about attracting something. I know Neville Goddard says this. I know a lot of people are familiar with his teachings. I'm going to mess this up totally, but in the wish fulfilled, right? Being in the state of the wish fulfilled. What this really means is that your manifestation is already complete. There's no attracting or creating, like everything is already created. There's no needing to get it, like needing to attract it. All of this is really just an illusion of separation. That's all it is. And it can really, really mess with you, and also mess with, I'm going to explain this a bit in a minute, really mess with your inner state. So when we talk about something already being a complete state, like the wish is already fulfilled, you already have it, right? That term used to drive me insane because I'm like, no, I freaking don't already have it. So the way I finally became understanding of this in a way that didn't frustrate me, and I realized that it actually made sense, is that since we're not creating anything, and since we are not attracting anything, really. We just like to use those words because they make sense. The fact is, it needs to be complete in your inner world first. So this means, this is actually a huge pitfall that feminine energy sort of goes into, is that, you should be in the state of desire, that you should just let yourself marinate in the desire. And I completely disagree. I think that that is actually a recipe for staying in the state, the complete state of separation, where all that gets to manifest for you from there is more and more and more separateness. Separation from your desire, separation from even your own power, really putting you in a vulnerable state of outsourcing your power to the next program, the next, answer that comes your way, the next tactic, the next strategy, the next thing that you have to do, that you think you have to do. So if something is not showing up for you, you are in some way, shape, or form in a state of separation, which is complete and which will continue to manifest for you. Your reality is not going to prove you wrong. It's not going to prove you wrong. That's something that I realized very quickly. I'm going to keep projecting scenarios that prove my subconscious correct. And if my subconscious believes and is in the complete state of being separate from whatever it is I want to experience, from love, from, a certain amount of income per month in my business, and I just see it like right over there and I'm reaching for it, that keeps me in the loop of disempowerment that I talk about, where you're always reaching for it. You're never going to have it. The perfect person could show up. The 10K month could show up, and it's not going to feel like it's yours. It's not going to feel satisfying. It's going to be, maybe the 10K month shows up, but then you have another expense that shows up that you don't really get to keep any of the money. Or maybe this perfect man shows up, but in some way, shape, or form, he is somewhat not ideal, right? Or it doesn't matter what he does. He's not going to make you happy because you're always going to be finding something wrong. That's what life feels like. That's what reality feels like. This is what your inner world will continue to feel like and manifest from the state of separation. So basically what has happened here is that this has become solidified in your identity, you could say, in who you are being. This is dominantly who you are being in most situations. Most days, most hours, you are not in this other state that would be getting what you want. You're in the state of separation most of the time. And, moving into, because I don't really recommend or like the whole like one-off manifestation sort of thing, because that kind of, I feel like that's almost on the bridge between states, I guess you could say. You'll see these one-off manifestations whenever you are shifting from one dominant state to another state being your dominant one of getting what you want, right? Or at least being in the state that you actually want to experience. That's the way I like to put it, because when we just say about getting what we want, we're still focusing on that separation and being in the version of ourselves who doesn't have it yet. And that can be damaging, slow things down, not make things instant, whatever words you want to use. It's not an enjoyable experience for me personally, so I don't like that. But whenever we shift into the state of love, for example, if that's what we're wanting to create, if that's what we're wanting to experience, I say create here, like I said, I'm using these words just to make sense of this, right? Because it's a little hard to put into words. But if we want to experience into our 3D reality, love and, being doted on and spoiled, and like in my last email I said, sort of hunted down and claimed by your man or a man, maybe he hasn't come into your world yet, then you're going to have to be dominantly in this complete state already where, like, of course this is going to happen for you. It's not a matter of sitting in the desire and like hoping and seeing yourself as separate and, oh, I need to be more in my feminine energy, right? And of course, I have been talking a lot about sort of the pitfalls that I hear and see in feminine energy teachings. Let me clarify. I love feminine energy. I am a feminine being. I love being in my feminine energy, but that is just my preference on how I get to experience the world, how I get to experience my relationship, how I get to experience polarity. That's my preference. When we make feminine energy, even the power, even in manifestation, right? Like be in your feminine energy and then you'll attract this, this, and this. Well, that's great if that's your preference of how to, or how you receive things. That's great if that's your preference of like, I love receiving love and being in my relationship in my feminine energy. I love that personally. But when I saw it as the power, it was just another pitfall and another example of putting something on a pedestal and thinking that that's going to solve our problems, or thinking that that is what is going to get me what I want, and then I have to be in, or I have to act this certain way, or I have to always be in my feminine energy, or else I'm not going to get my manifestations. That's not true. So that's what I'm trying to bring around full circle here. We love feminine energy, but feminine energy is not the power. You are. That should be comforting, especially if you feel like it has not been working for you, but you still desire to experience that. And that's like your preference in how to navigate the world. I understand. We love that. But going back to the desire in this, right? So feminine energy is heavily associated with desire, with having this, desire for, in your business, a 10K month, for example, and having this desire for a feminine business, making it easy, all of that. Yes, I love that too. Or in your relationship, you want this masculine man. So you then give feminine energy the power, and you're like desiring this, it's still separate from yourself. When this happens, like I said, we're putting it on a pedestal, we're separate from our desire, and you're never in that complete state of the desire fulfilled. This is like, that's it right there. If that's all you get from this video and you want to write one thing down and remind yourself every day, being separate from your desire fulfilled is why you don't have it. That's exactly why you don't have it. And you have to remember, or maybe you've never heard this before, but the reality of things is that when you are complete in your inner world, and every single state is complete, you're going to manifest more of that if you were in that state for a dominant amount of time, dominant percentage of time, let's say. So if I am really, really desiring love and to experience it deeper, but my dominant state of being is always thinking about and ruminating in the fact that I don't have it, and the fact that I really, really want it, and the fact that, looking and trying to find all of the red flags or green flags or the things that are showing me if I'm getting it or not, I'm going to consistently be in that complete state, which will be more of me having to look for it and see if I have it. More of me, seeing my husband show up for me, but then only sometimes, or something like that, where it feels like I need a 3D to validate me first. Again, this is a separation. When you have it complete in your inner world first, it's complete. What manifests from a complete state of being? More of that. So when I'm in the complete state of I'm loved, I am doted on, I'm spoiled, I'm whatever words work for you, whatever makes you feel really amazing, right? Maybe it's not even love, maybe it's money right now. When you're in the completeness of it, then you don't have to worry about, am I getting it? What kind of person worries or even needs the instant validation from the 3D? Someone who is not, I don't like to use the words trusting here or having faith in it, but someone who's not getting it. And what kind of person is the one who actually is able to enjoy it in their inner world? The person who knows that they'll get it in their 3D anyway. Like, of course. It's just so obvious to them that they don't even think about it, right? Like, think about something that you get all the time. Think about, maybe you get flowers all the time. You probably don't even think about it. It's just, of course, here are the flowers again. I'm so spoiled. This is amazing, right? But if you shifted into the state of being regarding the flowers of like, oh my God, I really, really, really want flowers. Okay, I got them last week, but like, is it going to happen again this week? If I don't get them, what's that going to mean about me? Totally different things here, totally different scenarios, totally different states. And that's going to shift your entire reality, right? So when I was in the state of separation, I felt extremely unsafe in all aspects of my life, in my business, in my relationship. And this was just a state I was in, right? It doesn't mean that it was real. But my reality kept showing up in every single aspect as showing me I'm not safe, as showing me, no, like, money isn't consistent. Of course it's not consistently there for you. Or, yeah, like, your husband will show up, but he's not really consistently there claiming you, and, it's just not really satiating, you could say. This is why your inner state will translate into the 3D and keep showing you more of that separation, of that disappointment, of that neglect, of that lack of safety that you were already ruminating in a dominant amount of time. So I hope that made sense, and I hope that really shed some insight on what you can actually do and shift into whenever you're not getting those manifestations, because there's so much advice out there about how to get it, right? But when it's focused on any sort of separation, any sort of looking outside of yourself, making anything else or anyone else the power, you're going to continue to manifest more of that. More of a world where you are actually not the one who is the power at all, and you have to outsource it to everyone else in order to get what you want. And that in itself is actually, to me, it feels like a victim state. And I don't say that to be shaming. To me personally, that's what it feels like. And I know for 99% of people, that is not an enjoyable place to be. And I personally want to be able to know that I have the ability to instantly shift my state, and then my 3D reality will follow after. It always does. It never fails me. So I wanted to share that today and hope to help you out there. As for announcements, I am still offering, of course, my 6-month one-on-one VIP coaching. Actually, I think this is the first video that I'm talking about this in, but this is my new one-on-one offer. I will leave that linked below where you can apply for that if you want to work with me. And really, this can be a shift that, of course, you can do on your own just from watching this video. But if you just want to work closer, have a mentor on this, and have that sort of support, then definitely feel free to apply. I would love to talk with you and see if it's a good fit. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. I love you so much, and I'll see you soon.